Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
I am Chad McCanna.
So Chad, what are we talking about this week?
Off to a great start. Well, there's not much in the news of interest lately, so...
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, that's the end. This has been a File 2. No, obviously, we usually record the show on a Thursday, as we established in exhaustive detail last week or the week before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, where somebody asked us,
Yeah.
how do you make the show?
But
And
we're a little anomalous tonight. We knew that the Kickstarter for Project Ukulele would be happening on what we thought was Friday. It actually got teased a little early on IGN Thursday, so it would have been nice to record. But then we had internet troubles and yada yada.
No, we had internet troubles.
Well,
let's clarify.
The show,
Who
the
had
collective
internet?
we.
Okay, the royal we.
Yes. Hyle and I collectively had internet issues. Those were resolved largely on my end. And yeah, so we're recording Saturday night, and this is going to go up immediately. Apologies for the delay, but it's actually nice that we had an opportunity for the delay because we've got to see the full breadth of support for Playtonic Games' Kickstarter campaign, Yooka-Laylee.
Yes, that is indeed what we have seen today.
There's not a lot we can say that isn't like being crammed down everyone's throats, and rightfully so.
This is a bit weird for us because for the first time in, I think, the existence of this show, the major news story in video games is what we're going to talk about. So it's not like we're championing something like Tropical Freeze as getting unjustly ignored by the mainstream gaming media.
Yeah.
For the first time, like, everybody said their piece about this, and here comes little old Kongversation.
Yeah, it's there. No one is saying should have been Metroid. I mean, hell, no one's even really saying should have been Banjo. Like, everyone is kind of appreciating this on its own merits, which is amazing.
Well, some people we'll get into. We'll get into the reactions, both positive and disappointing.
Sure. So anyway, we should probably get to our due diligence. And in going through that, and everyone knows it's the hotline, the forum, the social media nonsense.
Well, not everybody knows. It's every episode of the Kongversation is somebody's first episode, and to be honest, somebody's last episode.
Right, exactly. I was gonna say I'm sure we have a lot of churn in our new listeners, as they like to say.
Is that what happens to their stomach when they're listening to it?
I think that's where it comes from.
God.
Yeah,
They insulted Daryl Dixon.
Yes, and the reason I didn't just leap right into improv, baby, into our hotline is that we actually have a giveaway.
A giveaway?
Yeah, we're calling it like
free cash prizes?
Well, I guess these prizes have a certain cash value, not that it will be honored by anyone, but
you might even say they have a value of $9.99.
Ooh. So 16 Taco Bell tacos?
Only you would know that. Like, out of my entire circle of friends, you're the only person well versed enough in the bell.
It's an extremely guilty pleasure making a run for the border.
Yeah.
And something that I indulge in less and less these days. But man, it's
Do they have the border in Brooklyn?
They do, actually. There are several borders that one might run toward.
Is that's not even like their slogan anymore, run to the border.
Hey,
like,
I still hear
it's
Carlos Alazraqui as a Chihuahua in my head.
Yeah, it's Liv Moss now.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God, yeah. So you go there, they have these like really depressing, like, Taco Bell is now hiring, and they've it's got teenagers posing with boom boxes because this is the 1990s and we're all Radio Raheem.
No, if it was in the 1990s, it'd be like the Burger King Kids Club, where there'd be a random guy in a wheelchair.
Right. It's like, but this is like clip art of basketballs and like a dude wearing in a soccer uniform doing a high kick and then there are also tacos and quesadillas around them, and it says join our team, Liv Moss. And then you just look at the person who just took your order for an enchilada combo, and they just have this dead, soulless look on their face. And you're wondering, where are all the clip art boom boxes?
But are they living moths?
I maybe by definition. They're living with Moss job than they had before.
So are we giving away burritos or what's going on? No. Okay. Last week, we were graced with the presence of Brian Perry from Team Dakota. And he sat down for an interview with us about the Conker, both Big Reunion and Hail to the Remix.
Right.
Collectively, it's the Conker Play and Creation Bundle, if you buy both of them together.
Mm-hmm.
And
they come up with they've got a couple different names floating around, but I think that's what they've settled on.
It's made classifying the game on the website really difficult, and we finally settled on a good compromise as what to actually call it officially.
Right.
Something like Project Spark : Conker's Big Reunion : Episode 1.
Yeah, and we're not quite sure if that episode distinction is going to dissolve once all the installments are there, or like we don't know what the fuck's going to happen with the future ones. We're just assuming that there will be more.
We do know there's going to be future ones now, though. That was something Brian wouldn't commit to in the interview last week, but as it turns out, he said like pretty much the next day, more is coming.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure it'll be like Traveling Wilburys, where they release episode 3, and then we're just kind of left in the like, what the hell's going on?
Well, that's only because Roy Orbison is going to die between episodes. Roy Orbison, classic Conker character.
Oh yeah, he's best friends with Ryan Stiles.
Anyway, so Brian, he actually joined the DK Vine forum, and he's been interacting and engaging with fans and the Conker board.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, never been a better time to join the DK Vine forum.
It's strangely true. It continues to be true, which we've not had a streak like this for a long time.
We're in a hot streak, baby. Let's go to Vegas. Let's roll the dice.
Yeah, let's get that non-existent podcasting money.
Let's eat some Taco Bell and play some craps. So, Brian, he's been engaging with the DK Vine forum community,
mm-hmm.
and he actually wants to gift you all some bounty.
That is the creepiest way you could phrase his generosity. Brian Perry's here. He would like to gift you his generosity.
His bounty. His
bounty.
His bountiful generosity.
His banterful gift that he would like to turn gift into a verb and do that to you. So this is a train wreck. So we basically have a bunch of Conker Play and Creation Bundle download codes that we want to give to you, but we want to make you work for it.
Yeah, okay. So Brian basically said, hey, we've got these Play and Creation Bundle codes,
mm-hmm.
Basically the game for free. That's if you're not really up on the downloading parlance, if you're not sure, like, what are they talking about, download codes? This is the game for free.
Mm-hmm. And
it's it's that you type in the code, you get the game for free. You get the download for free. So he gave it to us. And
Do you realize that this is a show that is exclusively downloaded for its distribution, and you're explaining to people how to download something?
We're almost exclusively talking about games that were cartridge based. So I don't know how up on the jive the kids are.
Okay.
The kids being the 40-year-old men who listen to this show in their underwear with Taco Bell stains on their crotch.
It's basically Carlos Alazraqui is who he's describing.
After Reno 911 Candom.
It's like it's him and Wendy McClendon Covey just crying into each other's
shoulders.
Which
she actually has the best career outside of like maybe Thomas Lennon. She's actually getting the roles, so it's like, oh yeah, good job.
And Niecy Nash is doing all right with H. What the fuck are we talking about?
At least we're not talking about Walking Dead again.
Yeah, we've moved on from The Walking Dead to Reno 911 because that's what people tune into this show for.
Because relevance, yeah.
Relevance, exactly. Walking Dead, we don't even talk about it when it's on the air. We wait until nobody is discussing it.
Yeah, I know. That's just how long my rage simmers. So finally, it has to come out somehow. Brian, he basically said, "Do with these what you will."
Mm-hmm.
And so we're always down for a contest, Chad. We're always down for a contest.
Yeah, that's on our T-shirt. The official Kongversation T-shirt. The Kongversation with Hyle and Chad. We're always down for a contest.
Yeah, always down to clown. And by clown, we mean have an artificial contest that is pretty much meaningless.
Yeah, but so call us at our hotline 1-281-410-5664. It's KONG.
KONG.
KONG. Give us a ring and tell us how you would design a Conker game in Project Spark. We'll play our favorites on the show, and we will get in touch with those that called, the ones that we liked the best, given the number of codes that we have to give out, and we'll distribute those. We really want you guys to be able to achieve your vision for a Conker game. So give us a ring. We'll give you the codes.
Yeah, and you can also play Big Reunion Episode 1, which hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll have my first impressions on the game. I actually completed it last night. Spoiler alert, I enjoyed it immensely, and I can't wait to discuss it. But we have a lot to discuss, and unfortunately we have to keep putting this stuff down the road because the news is not stopping. So
yeah, we're actually still 3 weeks into promising at some point to do a Donkey Kong 64 spotlight.
Yeah, we've got that. We've got the Big Reunion First Impressions, which maybe will be next week. No guarantees because we have this time of year up through E3. There are no guarantees what the content is going to be from week to week.
Yeah,
so
we still haven't even really talked at all about the new Mario Kart 8 DLC, which I'm enjoying a lot. I mean, you've been going through Conker. I've been playing quite a bit of Mario Kart, and I feel like maybe we should combine the two. I don't know if that would be a disservice to Conker.
That would be a disservice to Conker. Conker, I think, is a bigger deal than Animal Crossing characters in Mario Kart.
All right.
Just my opinion.
Fair
I
enough.
know you're the Mario Kart 8 aficionado out of the two of us.
Well, not an aficionado. I mean, I enjoy it because it's a pretty good game, I reckon.
I mean, it's the best Mario Kart game in years. And what are we talking? Why are we talking about Mario Kart?
Conker Play and Creation Bundle. You want it? We have a whole bunch of it. Call us on the hotline. If it's a phone that can accept a text message, we can text you right back with the with the download code if we play your call. Or if you're nervous, just email chat@dkvine.com and Hyle@dkvine.com and let us know. Hey,
wait, if they're nervous, what would they be nervous about?
If they're nervous about whether or not they can receive our text message,
Oh yeah, because rates.
Yeah, rates may apply. This is, as we established, this is a downloaded show, which means you could be anywhere over the globe. Yeah, I don't know. Consult your cell phone carrier.
Ask your parents for permission.
You should not be asking your parents for permission to play this game.
If you're worried that we're gonna have your cell phone number and you're gonna get dick pics of the two of us. Mm-hmm. That's a credible fear to have.
Yeah, that's just a risk you'll need to take.
Yeah, 2 a.m. Wait, what? I got a text message. Oh my god!
Honestly, why do you think Malik keeps calling?
Why do you think we're so excited to hear him?
Hey guys, I got your latest dick pic. All right. So the rest of our due diligence, aside from Conker's big giveaway, is.
Oh, God, you actually gave it that name in our notes.
I did, yeah. It's Conker's something possessive, so let's just call it Conker's big giveaway. And by big, we mean a random motley crew of people who call our hotline. Join the forum.
You think Motley Crue would call? they really want that Conker download.
Either they want the download or they want our dick pics.
I think both.
Yeah. Porque no los dos. So
live Moss.
Join the forum if you too want to live Moss. There's plenty going on. Subscribe on iTunes. Give us a rating on iTunes. Or if it's not 5 stars, then don't. Because I think the rating actually means quite a bit to where it pops up on charts. So give us a 5 if you like this.
Oh,
nonsense.
if they were going to give us less than a 5, they would have tuned out long ago.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they would have never heard this request. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Instagram. You can go.
That was Shatner-esque.
You can go to any of those. dkvine.com/Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Instagram. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do all of those things.
Make it so.
That is the wrong captain.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Janeway, right?
Yeah, that's true. I actually haven't gotten around to who's Jane. Janeway's from Enterprise, right?
Voyager. What the fuck?
I know, because we're doing a whole thing where we get Star Trek facts wrong.
Well, if you hadn't seen Voyager or Enterprise, maybe you didn't know.
I fucking knew that it was Quantum Leap who was the captain on goddamn Enterprise. At least I knew that much.
you know enough to call him Quantum Leap.
Yeah. It's Scott Bakula. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He was the African vampire from the 70s, right?
That's right. Yeah, they call that backsploitation. It's this whole subgenre of films from the 70s that were really exploitative of Scott Bakula.
Well, he kept leaping into them. What were they supposed to do?
Oh my God! Yeah, I would love to set up a Scott Bakula fan community called Backsploitation. So tell your friends about the show if you enjoy whatever the fuck that just was.
Yeah. So yeah, dkvine.com/Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Instagram.
Yes.
RedTube.
Make it so.
Make it so. Okay, we have some calls to get to, and who knows the next time we're going to get to calls, so we better take them.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Clay, first-time caller. I am known on the forum as DKC64. I had a quick question for you guys pertaining to difficulty in games, specifically Donkey Kong Country games. I felt like the original Donkey Kong Country had the perfect level of difficulty where at certain points it was very challenging, but it was also really fun to play. And then as DKC2 came out, I felt like they stepped the difficulty up a notch. And for some people, it's a little bit more difficult to play than other games. And then when DKC Returns came out, I found myself getting really frustrated with it when I first played through it, to the point where I wasn't even enjoying it at times. But then when Tropical Freeze came out, I felt like they got back to the original DKC where it was just like the perfect level of difficulty where it was fun, but it was also challenging. So basically, my question to you guys is, what do you feel like is the perfect balance of being a challenging game as far as difficulty goes and just being like flat out frustrating? And if there's maybe specific games that you felt that you found really easy but other people found frustrating, or I don't know, maybe it just comes down to the fact that some of us just aren't very good at playing these games. So I would love to hear you guys' input on that. And yeah, thanks. Bye.
Well, thank you for the call, Clay.
Yeah, thank you, Clay, molding us a good question.
Shut up. I gotta make some funny comment about his name, because Clay's not a normal name or anything.
I grew up with the name Hyle, so yes, I have to. I have to belittle every name.
It's not even slightly strange. It's just also a noun.
Okay. If you went through middle school with your teachers calling roll and saying, Heil Hitler, then yeah, you're going to have a complex.
Why don't you just go by your middle name, Hyle?
Don't go there.
Don't even.
We know my middle name is Pol Pot, so yeah, let's not go there.
All right, that makes perfect sense. So the difficulty ramping up in the Donkey Kong Country series, or sort of being inconsistent. I mean, I agree with him that DKC2 was certainly more difficult than the first one, and that Returns was frustrated mostly for me in its control scheme.
Yeah, if you played, Clay, I don't know if you've played the 3DS version. I think that would alleviate most of that difficulty.
Yeah, it seems like DKCR 3D was sort of the realization of that game, and
anybody who's played that, I think their opinions of Returns improved dramatically.
Yeah, and then of course Tropical Freeze took that same control scheme that was established on actual controls, or at least button-based controls. I'm not gonna be, there's no place in the world for motion gaming. I'm not gonna be that person, but certainly when you're doing a precision platformer, you want precise movement input. So yeah, anyway, the Tropical Freeze sanded off all of those rough edges, and I think that it certainly is the right balance, at least to me. And I like how much it ramped up as you went along. Even the early stages were difficult, mostly in how long they were, but I never really got frustrated, and then by the time I was further along in the game, I was better enough that I could see that what I was trying to do was just out of reach. And you know,
well, I think what the point he's trying to coax out of us is that what makes a game like Tropical Freeze or most of the Donkey Kong Country series in general the perfect balance of challenge and versus difficulty is when the gameplay is immensely fun.
Yeah.
When the challenge isn't artificial, when the challenge is just something to overcome and you enjoy the process even if you die again and again and again and again.
Well, to me I think it doesn't even really matter necessarily whether the challenge is something that I'm going to feel emotionally invested in. To me it always comes back to control. If I feel like it's difficult and it's completely out of my control, I'm going to get frustrated and I'm not going to return to that game. If it's difficult, but it gives me every bit of control and all the tools that might be utilized to achieve the thing, then that's a good balance. I don't want to feel like I have failed repeatedly and it's not my fault.
Yeah, and that's the struggle I'm having with Donkey Konga 2, where it's just a bunch of bullshit. That's
you're
why
still plugging away at that one, huh?
I haven't actually touched it in a couple weeks, but I have a new Conker game, man. Why would I touch that piece of filth?
Well, because you need to finish that.
Yeah, like
chapter.
Can we not? The wound is like beyond like gnarly right now. Like it's never gonna heal, but it's infected and the pus is just shooting out of it nonstop.
Well, maybe you should put it in peroxide.
Infected toe in peroxide.
Nobody knows what that's a reference to.
If they listen to the show in season 1, they know.
Yeah.
They know.
Or go to the slightly wrong forum address on the website.
That's all we're gonna say though.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and I think Double Dash was another case of me just running into that. The very first slush fund I did on the forum, kind of the most infamous one where I tried to 100% Double Dash.
I think Donkey Konga 2 has outpaced the infamy of Double Dash.
Yeah, I know, but I think Double Dash was the most enjoyable one.
Yeah.
And I think when I was trying to 100% Double Dash with just the Kongs and the game is just so broken and cheap, and I felt like I had no control. It was just a roll of the dice. It was just luck. And I think that's where if you have no agency in actually beating the game, if it's just like gambling in Vegas, again, to use that analogy,
right,
that's when I lose interest in the game. That's why I find Mario Party to be more distasteful than others do.
Yeah, well, you get to the end of Mario Party and it says, hey, that hour and change that you just spent collecting all these stars, just kidding, we're going to give it all to Wario.
Yeah. So I like when a game the challenge is just inherent in the gameplay itself, not in any artificial chance.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure, exactly. It's and you want to, that's one of the reasons why I got so frustrated with playing Smash Brothers Online, and they have fixed it to a degree, but there still is enough lag.
That's just because you're not as good as Scarf Boy.
That's true. Well, Scarf Boy would never deign to play it online. They can barely play with a wireless controller.
Nor would he play
lag, man. Too much lag.
Nor would he play as Diddy Kong because Diddy Kong is OP.
Diddy Kong is way OP. Anyway, it's like when I play Smash Brothers Online, it feels like there's this lag of a quarter second and even an eighth of a second, and I don't feel like I'm in control, so I get frustrated. It comes down to how in control you are of what you're trying to do.
And granted, and back to the point I was making too, if the game is rewarding, if I'm immersed in the game world, that makes it easier to come back to it and not be frustrated with the challenge.
You can forgive more if there are more positive elements, but at the fundamentals, you still have to have some capability to do the thing on your own.
Yeah.
All right.
So it is a delicate tightrope balancing act. And unfortunately, too many games falter. Too many Nintendo games falter, which you wouldn't think that to be the case, but it really is.
I know we need to move on, but what Nintendo because Nintendo at least gets the being in control of what you're doing. I think it's really more
Mario Kart Double Dash through Mario Kart 7.
Well, okay, the
Mario Party 1 through
sure,
10.
Sure. But when you say Nintendo, when I think of Nintendo, I don't usually just think of the Mario Party series. I think of like their mainline Mario games are. They're largely very bland aesthetically.
But they have the bullshit time counter too, which I think that's artificial difficulty. That's cheap.
Well, the Luigi bit finally made good use of it. The new Super Luigi U, but
it's still you're being punished for wanting to enjoy the game. It's like you got to be quick. It's a relic of the arcade era that should have been retired.
I see where you're coming from, but I don't think that has.
You hate the timer just as much as I do.
I hate the timer, but I don't think the timer is making me feel like I have less control over the game. I just feel like it's another challenge and a somewhat arbitrary one.
I feel like it's because the enjoyment I get is exploring a game world.
Okay.
And immersing myself in that world.
All right.
And
well,
if there's a timer over my head, it's just like, oh, okay. It would be like if you were going grocery shopping and you had 2 minutes or you would die every time you went grocery shopping. I wouldn't be able to like peruse the shelves and try something new. I would be going for the same damn food every time.
I think that was the premise for the 1990s Nickelodeon Toys R Us fund run, where they would basically give a kid 5 minutes at a Toys R Us to get as much as they could off the shelves. But
they put down so many children.
Yeah, if that 5 minutes elapses and they're still in the store, they gas it. They lock the doors.
Yeah.
You were too greedy, kid.
I can make so many terrible jokes right now. I'm not going to, though, because I'm a reformed man.
Uh-huh. You're a reformed man?
I'm reformed from making overtly tasteless jokes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like reformed from being a man. Like, I am no longer a man.
Well, I mean, it does emasculate me slightly if I want to be perfectly honest, that I can't just make a joke like equating the Nickelodeon.
Oh no, were you going with a Nazi thing?
No, I was going with a Columbine joke.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair ground.
Okay.
So
and it wasn't Toys R Us, it was KB Toys, Chad.
They did both KB and Toys R Us.
I don't think they ever did Toys R Us.
I think they did, and I know this because I recently read an interview on the AV Club with two people who participated, and one of them did KB and one of them did Toys R Us.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. That's why it was fresh on my mind, because I read an article about something kind of like that like a month ago.
Well, I guess the New Yorker article I read about Nickelodeon's toy run was inaccurate then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so.
Yeah, sorry. And to say nothing of the Washington Post expose on Stick Stickly.
God, I hated Stick Stickly. I think Stick Stickly is when my devotion to Nickelodeon began to wane.
Yeah. So, thanks for the call, Clay.
Somebody on the forum, I think it might be Alf, but I could be mistaken there, said we should just host a general like 90s nostalgia podcast, and I think we'd be pretty good at it.
Yeah, but I think we need Donkey Kong to keep us honest.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
There's always something that we need to get to. Otherwise, we would just vamp on this nonsense for hours.
But if that's the whole show, then that's the show. I mean,
that's not a show I would want to listen to.
But of course, then again, people really were saying like, "Oh man, I love Friends. I can't wait for Joey to get his own spinoff."
Yeah, that would be the Joey of the Kongversation.
Yeah. Yeah, no Frasers or Better Call Sauls are coming from this show.
No.
Let me tell you.
We are the Lone Gunman, and we are Joey.
Next call.
Howdy, I am Zach, and I called to ask you guys if you thought Retro Studios would ever make a 3D Donkey Kong game in the style of Donkey Kong 64, and also, do you guys think if it would be anywhere near as good as it would be if Rare made it, or if it would be like a sequel-esque? Maybe, with the same care and attention. And, I don't know, do you think they would do it well? Yeah, that's it. Goodbye.
All right, thank you for the call, Zach. That's
Zach, like Zach Morris from off of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, that's something we could talk about for the next 20 minutes.
Nah, actually, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, same here. So Retro, what we do know about their game, perhaps because I really didn't look into whether this was just another stupid rumor or not. Apparently, whatever they're working on now is on a new engine, which suggests it's not a Tropical Freeze extension. But
Well, we never thought it was going to be that.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Well, too much backlash from the Cranky Kong announcement, clearly.
and also they're not going to make 3 Donkey Kong Country games in a row.
That would be insane.
I mean, come on.
So if they could possibly be working on a 3D DK game, there's literally no way for us to know.
You know what? Honestly, I think the odds are just as good for that as it is Metroid, and I think the internet will lose its shit. But
Yeah.
bring it on, baby! I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I think
I'm feeling like a fight. Saturday night is when we're recording, and guess what? Guess what?
Is it
it's
all right
also
for
all
fighting?
right for fighting. Yes.
All right. Saturday night's all right. Ooh hoo hoo hoo. Saturday. So you asked if it was sequel-esque, would it have the same care and attention that Rare put into DK64? And we should probably save it for our spotlight, but I've become kind of cynical about Donkey Kong 64.
You've become kind of cynical.
Well, I was worried that playing it again on the Virtual Console would validate my suspicions that I've had upon reflecting on the game in the last 15 years, and it kind of has. It's just reinforced a lot of those ideas of, and I think that playing Banjo-Tooie kind of juxtaposed with DK64, it really is it might be an unfair comparison, but I feel like it deserves to be made because there was a lot of crossover. There was some crossover in those teams. And they were really being developed partially simultaneously. Saying that DK64 had a level of care and attention that I would want to see from another 3D DK game, I would hope that the newer one would get more.
Okay, well, I think this is a discussion that really needs to be saved for our spotlight episode.
Yeah.
I will say that my feelings towards DK64, God, I can't even say the acronym. DK64 are probably more generous than yours at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think because I'm not playing Banjo-Tooie at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm finding more things to enjoy in my replay through.
Yeah.
I will say though that there are lessons to be learned from it. Lessons to that where you shouldn't repeat the same mistakes it made, and I think that's where Retro or anybody who makes it will have the benefit of hindsight now.
Yeah,
where
they can make all new mistakes.
Well, they could do that, and they will.
Yeah.
But I think that I would really be interested to see what Retro or Camelot would do with a DK64 2-ish, because I think our main criticism of the game when it came out, and especially increased over the years, was that it strayed too far from the Donkey Kong Country formula.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, by formula you mean like the gameplay and that kind of.
Yeah, it was basically just a looser, drunker Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It does sort of, it's like, yeah, well, I guess that one had like 100 challenges or something, so this was, I guess, this 201 of them now.
500 bananas in this world. Let's do it.
And how about the objective here, like put a barrel and it's like a mini game, and then just do it again later. It's just the same thing.
You know what? We should race a dung beetle or scarab. No, scarab. Oh, you know what?
Just make it really hard. This is like halfway through. Just a really hard race.
Oh, let's race a hare. You know what? I don't care if it's the same world. Let's just race the fucking owl, too.
I would actually have quite a bit of respect for Donkey Kong 64 if the entire barn at Manor Park that was developing it was just blind, stinking drunk the entire time. I think that DK64 would be such an accomplishment if that were the case.
Yeah, you know, you kind of get the sense that they were making it because they had to make a Donkey Kong game, and they had to make a 3D Donkey Kong game.
It feels that's the thing. Like I don't want to presume to know their intentions, but yeah,
'cause there are a lot of good things about the game.
Oh yeah, and there is certainly quite a bit of artistry. Like the soundtrack is fantastic, the visuals are fantastic. There's a lot of great in there, but there's a lot of things that do feel like obligation.
You know what? The reviews that are coming out for the new Avengers movie,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of reminding me of Donkey Kong 64.
How's that?
And I'm going to be the only person who will say that on the internet.
Well, care
I guarantee it.
to elaborate on your uniqueness?
Just that, like Joss Whedon was doing it out of obligation, and it was bloated, and they tried to put way too much into it, and it was exhausting, and nobody really had any passion for it.
Quicksilver can only collect the red bananas.
That's right. Meanwhile, Quicksilver is in a better movie. So I guess in this comparison, that would be the Diddy Kong Racing.
Days of Future Past is Diddy
Days
Kong
of Future
Racing.
Past is Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah,
That's fair.
Anyway, so I don't know. I think that there was just a lot going against the game, and I think because it was sandwiched between the Banjo series, which was the 3D platformers mostly made by the team who made Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, where DK64 was mostly the DKC3 team,
Right.
and I think not having where the DKC3 team had that template to go off of from 1 and 2, and they were kind of doing their own thing with DK64, while on the other team was doing their own 3D platform. It was a no-win situation.
Yeah, but you also look at that, and there was no template for Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, in a sense, Mario 64 was the template.
Right, but Banjo-Kazooie got out first, too. Like,
Yeah.
you understand, like, Rare was doing 3 3D platformers at the same time.
4, really.
4.
Conker.
No, I'm including Conker. I'm not including Tooie. Tooie
Oh,
came after.
I see what you're saying.
But
Yeah,
development of DK64, Conker, and Banjo were pretty much all simultaneous.
Yeah, there was some overlap, yeah.
So, and it's miraculous that not only did Banjo-Kazooie get their game out before Conker when it started development after, but they got their sequel out before Conker too.
Right.
But
there are, lessons that, maybe they were too far down the path on DK64.
it's a discussion that's going to be had in our spotlight episode.
Yeah. But to answer the question, I think that, Retro would put as much, if not more, care and attention into it. Retro is not a studio that seemingly does things out of obligation. It's like they choose what they want to work on.
Miyamoto suggests that Donkey Kong blows, so they put the blowing mechanic in. Well, they are a studio that does things out of obligation.
Well, okay, they're not a studio that takes on giant initiatives out of obligation. I feel like they
Gotcha.
They wanted to. They had good ideas for a Donkey Kong Country game. I'm sure a lot of that was driven by Michael Kelbau, and they worked on that in the face of everyone screaming for them to make another Metroid because they wanted to make that. So if they did the same thing with DK64, I don't think we have any reason to think that it would be sort of a cast aside afterthought of an effort.
The only thing I would worry about is Donkey Kong 64 is actually quite revered among a lot of people, including people like the president of Camelot Studios. So I would worry that any attempt at making a sequel of sorts would try to hew too closely to the gameplay of the original.
Yeah. Well, sort of in the way that Returns was almost overly reverential of the first DKC.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's always a risk when you're
500 bananas in every world. 500 bananas. That's. The fans will revolt if they can't collect 500 bananas in this world.
Yeah, we
5 different colors.
We've got to give them what they want.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what? Let's double it.
1,000 bananas per world. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, so thank you for the call.
I think Gavin Price is still having like acid flashback nightmares about collecting those bananas.
He can't go into the produce section anymore.
They're all green. Why won't they ripen? I don't have Chunky Kong with me.
Yeah, and he will die 2 minutes into a grocery store expedition if he goes to the produce section.
It's just lobbing oranges at people. It's a mess.
Hi guys, I was just wondering, with the recent release of DK64 on the Virtual Console, where would you like to see the future 3D Donkey Kong? I think there's sort of three main options really. Do you want to see a full-scale remake on the 3DS like the Zelda games, or would you like to see the Donkey Kong 64 2-ish you've been floating around, sort of a spiritual successor to Rare's title, or would you like to see something completely different? I don't know, perhaps something a little more linear, like the Mario Galaxy, or maybe something more open world. I mean, well, what do you think? What's the logical next step? Perhaps what's the safest bet for the audience as a whole? Yeah, okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Ooh, mystery caller.
I'm going to just refer to him as Missing No. Chad, were you walking up and down on the coast again?
Yeah, you know how much fun I have at Cinnabar Island. That's not, it's SSN, isn't it? Every time I say where I think Missing No was found in Pokemon Red or Blue, someone comes in and corrects me. Like, actually, that was on Route 33.
Yeah, it wasn't Cinnabar Island. I did go to a Cinnabon earlier today, so maybe that explains it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, that experience that you had and never told me about.
You know very well we share a telepathic link.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this caller was underneath the truck that you lift up to find Mew.
But we all know you can only really get them through a game show.
Right. So what do you think is the next step? We just engaged in a lot of...
We just talked about this.
Well,
Did we
right,
just not
but
talk
that
about
was
this?
assuming that the next thing would be a DK64 style thing, which I think there are a lot more options, as Missing No pointed out.
No, okay.
What would you prefer of those, or do you think that something else, some crazy alternate idea that wasn't spelled out by our caller, is the logical next step?
Well, I would go off my show notes here, but it's all glitched now.
Yeah, your save data is corrupted. You did not defeat the Elite Five or whatever they were called. Yeah.
I'm still going to get him up to level 100, though. Anyway, so, okay. I wouldn't want to see just the 3DS remake of Donkey Kong 64. Let's clear the air there. There's no need for that anymore. It's on the Virtual Console. We don't need a fucking port of the game.
Unless they did a lot to, let you switch on the fly. I mean, there are a lot of things.
Let's just move on.
Yeah,
Can we just move on and have a new experience? Not everything needs to be ported into a new version.
I agree.
Because I think there's only been one port that's improved on the original, and that's the aforementioned Returns 3D.
I don't know, man. You mean a Donkey Kong universe?
In the Donkey Kong universe.
Okay.
Obviously, there's Super Mario All-Stars.
Yeah, All-Stars, and I think that, and this may be controversial for purists, but I think that there are a lot of elements in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D that actually improve on the originals.
Really?
Yeah. Especially the way that Majora 3D controls using the new 3DS. That fucking new 3DS is a nice piece of hardware, and being able to run through the game while I'm physically looking around with gyroscope controls, and it still keeps the 3D intact. It has changed the way I play Zelda for the better. So,
well, I would buy a new 3DS, but unfortunately, I just dropped a whole lot of money on an Xbox One and a Kickstarter this week. So,
yeah,
I think my budget is tapped for a while.
Yeah, my bank account's gonna get pretty angry at me in about 44 days.
Yeah. They're probably gonna just hold up my account because they think my card was stolen, which happens every time I make a large purchase.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least your bank's working for you. It's an inconvenience, but it's better than someone just like siphoning out your money on whatever Kickstarter project they feel like.
If it's not my weekly purchase of Morningstar chicken nuggets and lube, then I hear from my bank.
Yeah. Hyle eats his Morningstar chicken nuggets in reverse.
What?
That's what the lube's for.
Oh, yeah. I give myself a soy enema.
That is soy. Ugh, it's so strange. I mean, it's bad. Morningstar actually makes very good veggie products.
You're like, ew, it's so strange. Is it any stranger than eating the flesh off a dead bird? I mean, when you really think about it.
I mean, I'm an omnivore, so but no, it was just the idea of taking soy, which is, tofu's good, soy's good, but making it seem like it's a chicken nugget. That's the strange part to me.
To be fair, though, I mean, most chicken nuggets are made with various filler as well. So
yeah, that's true. I guess you don't have to worry about mechanically separated bean curd.
That's true. Well, I'm sure they do separate it mechanically, but.
Well, yeah, I guess mechanically separated isn't such a bad thing, is it? It just means you threw the thing in a centrifuge.
It's this discussion about chicken nuggets. That's why if I still ate meat, I would go to Taco Bell because I want to live moss.
That's right. You want your colon to live moss, to go through something it's never experienced before.
I do think I'm suffering from IBS. I've self-diagnosed myself with IBS.
We really need to update your Etsy host file to keep you off of WebMD. So I think that.
So speaking of irritable bowels, let's get back to Donkey Kong 64.
Right. I would, if I were to do another like 3D Donkey Kong game, I would actually sort of take a page out of the Super Mario 3D World book. I think that they had an idea that was really cool. It was boxed in by the time limit we talked about earlier.
And also the artificial world,
the obstacle course. Yes,
the obstacle course. If you could Donkey Kong Fi it.
Yes.
Donkey Kong Fi it.
Yes. Like basically make a diorama that looks like,
not a diarrhea, because that's just living moss.
Mm-hmm. That looks like what those old rare renders of the stages used to look like. And actually, we have a forum user, I think it's Watt64, that is doing dioramas of the DKC games, and this is how I would imagine these to look. Not obviously.
Is 64 gigawatts what's required to travel through time?
No, it's 1.21.
1.21. Okay.
Right. If it looked something like that, like a very well realized diorama that didn't just arbitrarily drop off because this whole game is floating in space.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really cool way to do it, and it would
Crash Bandicoot style.
Sorta, but with a little more freedom, because Crash Bandicoot was really, it was like that minecart sequence in Tropical Freeze where the camera moves behind you. You're still more or less on a linear path, whereas Super Mario 3D World, you were going from point A to point B, but there was a lot more meandering that you could do.
Yeah.
I
think it's got to find its own voice. It can't just be Super Mario 3D World with Donkey Kong and with slightly more realistic aesthetics. It's got to be kind of a nice I agree with you, by the way. I know what you're getting at, and I do agree.
The stages should be, not as small as Super Mario 3D World, but not just a handful of giant hulking spaces. You should have a couple dozen levels that are a little shorter in nature and give a little bit more freedom, but keep the camera kind of removed, a little fixed. So,
but also have more exploration too.
Sure.
I want to feel like I am in a fully realized 3D world, even if it is more confined.
So you want a down-to-earth 3D platformer that's swarming with magic robots.
Absolutely. And I love the Speedo guy.
Yeah. All right.
And I think I know. I've been in discussion with DK Vine staff member Jeff, who has said he thinks Donkey Kong should just be Nintendo's answer to the 3D platformer collectathon genre, which is now seeing a resurgence. I don't really agree, because I don't think you need to have an answer to that from Nintendo. I think
it's being covered.
Well, it's being covered, but not only that, I think Donkey Kong needs to find its own niche.
Yeah, I agree. I think that,
and I think Donkey Kong should have a presence in 3D gaming. He shouldn't just be, constricted to 2D platforming. But let's not let's not just ape ha what others are doing, like Donkey Kong 64 kind of did. Let's do it Donkey Kong Country style, only in 3 dimensions.
Yeah. So we need someone to come up with a really great way to do everything we said while also not doing everything we said to avoid, and really read our minds on what would work and what wouldn't work, and just make that thing.
Hey, this is why I'm glad I'm not being paid to make these decisions.
Right.
This is all up to those fat cat Wall Street tycoons up at Nintendo.
That's right. Those highfalutin 1%ers in Redmond, Washington.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Occupy NOA.
So thanks for the call, Missy. No.
So that takes care of our calls, our due diligence, our Conker's big giveaway. We should probably talk about Project Ukulele.
Well, that's funny because I don't think we need to talk about the project part anymore.
Yeah, well, the projected earnings from their Kickstarter are at about £26 million. So they've gotten the project part taken care of.
26 million pounds.
That's the projection
Projected
on Kick Track. Like if their trajectory continues at this pace,
which Kick Track's not that accurate,
right?
That's assuming the trends continue, and there's going to be the drop off after the initial burst.
Oh, there always is, and it'll pick back up again in the last few days.
Okay, so let's talk. Let's put this into context.
Yeah,
okay?
Ukulele
we're just saying words. Okay.
Ukulele is now known by its true name, ukulele.
Okay, so I want to talk about that a little bit. We've been calling it Project Ukulele since Platonic's website came up, and since we had Chris Sutherland on the show.
Yes.
Which, by the way, if you're just coming into the conversation, if you're just looking for ukulele news,
he wandered
or info,
in off the streets.
Yeah, go back and listen to that because we sit down with the big boss man of Platonic Games. We sat down with him for an hour, and it was an interesting discussion.
And also our apologies for the last 1 hour of this episode.
Oh well. Again, if they've weathered the storm this far, we've got them for life.
Right? Yeah. That's in the iTunes terms and conditions, by the way.
Oh yeah. Well, nobody ever reads it. They just scroll through and click.
Yeah, we've got you. So it's called ukulele now.
It's called ukulele. Let's clarify though, even though everybody already knows how it's spelled. Y O O.
Good podcasting.
K.
Yep.
A. And then there's a hyphen.
Oh, also known colloquially as a dash.
A dash. L A Y.
What comes next?
L E. And then there's another E.
Why are you doing it sounds like you're really passive aggressive about the spelling of this thing.
No, I have to bow to Platonic because this is actually brilliant. They've been calling this Project Ukulele, knowing full goddamn well that the name of the game is Yooka-Laylee.
Yes.
It's such a, we're going to be super secretive about this, but also get you used to calling it this, which is actually going to be called. It's just a perfect little bit of marketing gimmickry.
Yeah.
And, bravo.
Yeah, and they've successfully pre-branded this name in all of our minds phonetically.
And then for the unwashed masses who weren't already on board, they have the obvious Banjo-Kazooie parallel in the name.
Right, of course. It's built in. They're using basically the same font for their
logo.
logo.
It's basically the same font.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I wonder if that's like a TTF file that one of them snuck out of Rare on a thumb drive or
anally in the rectum.
Yeah, that was the dev kit that Gavin asked us to ask Chris Sutherland about.
That's right. Yeah.
That it was the font that he smuggled out. He was. Would you call it like a typeface coyote?
Typeface coyote. Is that the bar where all the waitresses dance on the counter?
Yeah, it's very bad kerning though. You don't want to go in there.
Jesus. So yeah, ukulele, and ukulele refers to the two main characters, which Gee whiz! It's a animal with a winged animal on its
You
back.
sound so passive aggressive, man.
I'm not. I'm really not. We'll get into it. Like I admire the balls. that it takes to do this.
what did we expect them to do? I guess it's a bipedal animal with something to flap on them.
I
Like what's with the tone?
if you're reading any hostility in the tone, that's on you. You're projecting that onto me.
Okay.
I'm just admiring the sheer ballsiness of what they're doing here.
Right.
Okay, so we've got the two main characters, Yooka and Laylee.
Yooka is the chameleon.
Yooka is a chameleon. We basically knew it was going to be some sort of lizard creature because that was the animal we've had the clearest view of in the bushes.
Yeah, and they had teased in the past that they had certain gameplay ideas that sprung from the species of the characters. So chameleon was, as soon as I saw that the eyes had some green around them, chameleon was my guess. I thought that was a dead giveaway. So I'm very happy to see that because, while we haven't seen anything like that yet, and all they've told us is that that Yooka can grapple using his tongue.
Like the goddamn Batman.
Like the goddamn Batman, or like Yoshi from Super Mario Galaxy. I am really, really excited. Galaxy 2, I think. Yeah. I'm so excited to see some of those camouflage effects, because that's going to happen down the line.
Batman doesn't grapple with his tongue. He has a grappling hook. I'm sorry.
Sorry, that was a Morgan Freeman invention.
Well, no, I was going to say we don't know what Ben Affleck's going to do yet. So
that's true. Yeah.
To be determined.
Mm-hmm. You think he's gonna blow himself up and then maybe appear in a coffee shop in France, or maybe it was all in his head the whole time?
What are you referencing? Is this how Good Will Hunting ended?
That's right. Okay.
So
I have nothing to contribute other than that's right, because anything I could think of was just a poor, just a joke in poor taste about Robin Williams.
Oh, dude. Here's my question about Robin Williams.
Oh God, no! See, this is what I was trying to avoid.
Do you think he bleeds?
What?
Batman v Superman.
Oh, is that from the trailer? See,
yeah.
Okay.
Do you bleed?
Whatever.
You will.
Whatever, man.
Which, by the way, the Supreme Court is hearing Batman v Superman this week.
Yeah.
And people are getting passionate about it.
I feel like Scalia is going to write the dissenting opinion.
Yeah, Mike Huckabee has then been on the campaign trail saying that, as a Christian, he just can't get behind Superman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Batman guy all the way.
Yeah. Yeah,
too many Jesus overtones in Superman. Too many Christ parallels. Can't have that.
It's that libertarian streak in him that really appreciates the vigilante justice. That fucking Yooka-Laylee. Why don't we talk about that?
Because you started talking about Ben Affleck.
It's not me. Laylee is a bat. How about that? Let's talk about the bat.
Laylee is a bat, and I want to make so many jokes about Layla, the Derek and the Domino song.
the transgender.
No, that's Lola, the Kinks song.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So what's the
Layla got me on my knees, Layla.
So yeah. Isn't that this? Oh yeah. Yeah. The other one is Lola. Yes.
Lola, Coca-Cola.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Got me on. Okay.
So yeah, Laylee got me on my knees.
That was very interesting. That whole me trying to remember a song from 30 years ago. Yep.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
You're getting older, Chad.
Jesus Christ.
We're all getting older.
Oh my God. The Vietnam War was closer to Forrest Gump's release than Forrest Gump was to now.
No! So, Laylee is a bat.
Brought to you by BuzzFeed.
Laylee is a bat. Mm-hmm. And it's on the back of Yooka.
Yep.
Hence Yooka-Laylee.
Yep.
Thoughts?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
these characters look cool.
That's why, I was worried about this episode because I don't know what there is interesting for us to say other than I really fucking like what I'm seeing.
Well, I don't know what else of interest there is to say that hasn't already been said everywhere else online.
Yeah, in 140 character segments.
So the only thing we can really bring is our perspective, which is a little bit maybe more experienced than a lot of
Ooh.
Well, I mean, look, I'm sorry. Whoever's writing these IGN articles probably doesn't have probably doesn't live and breathe Banjo-Kazooie every day of their lives like we do.
Well, there was that strange line about how they even managed to nab the voice of the Killer Instinct announcer in the IGN reveal video. Their IGN news, which isn't it strange, by the way, that IGN articles are now just a guy standing in front of what looks like a newsroom bullpen, like narrating the article.
Yeah, and it's like they're emulating like MTV news breaks from like the 90s.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, also that it's like, if you're just gonna read the article, just let me read the article myself.
Yeah. If you have an article, look, if you want to be something like Game Explain,
sure,
then just have a YouTube channel and close down the whole article part of your site. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and Game Explain, they exist the stuff that they do requires a visual element. What IGN's article, like their video news, does requires no visuals. It's
IGN is the Donkey Kong 64 of video game journalism. and that there's too many things going on.
Yeah, it's bloated. It's a little misguided. Ultimately, we formed opinions about it as a youth that were perhaps a little knee jerk.
Bias, says Belcha.
Yeah. IGN is the embodiment of media bias. Controversial. Yeah, that was us as teenagers.
Gamergate.
Yeah, Gamergate. Fucking game. I don't even know what Gamergate means anymore.
Hashtag Gamergate.
That's right. You can't forget that part.
Hashtag not all men.
So,
Yooka-Laylee.
yeah. So they Chris Sutherland, they said he was just the Killer Instinct guy. Whatever. All right. So
yeah. So they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, they at least don't have. They haven't even done the modicum of research to know what they're talking about. But
they haven't connected the dots.
But the thing is, though, IGN reaches a very wide audience, so it makes perfect sense to me why they had their sort of early debut of the characters and a little bit of footage.
I'm not knocking that.
Yeah.
I'm just do some fucking research, IGN. read a book,
That's right. Yeah, listen to LeVar Burton. But you don't have to take our word for it.
No, I know that reference. That's Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
That's exactly right. That was Worf's famous catchphrase. But you don't have to take my word for it. Yeah. Why did Worf get into a romantic relationship with the Trill that has like all of? See, that seems like something that would really freak out a Klingon. This long history of dudes and women inside this worm body, and yet he seems to have no problem with Dax.
I know what you're referring to.
I call shenanigans!
I know what you're referring to. I just don't have any perspective on it because I haven't really watched too much of Deep Space Nine.
I think that really my enthusiasm for DS9 fell apart after we spent 4 seasons waiting for Worf to show up, hoping that it would start to make things make sense on that show, or at least give us a character we gave a shit about to follow. Because I'm sorry, but Dr. Julian Bashir and his best friend Cole Meany ain't cutting it. And
I was just watching Bashir, and I was like, "What is Baltar doing here?"
Yeah, he seems like Baltar's younger, slightly stupider brother. Mm-hmm. And he's actually doing pretty well on Game of Thrones right now. But once Worf did show up, and they just started like watering down the concept of Klingon honor. It's like, I really don't. This is now making me retroactively dislike a show that I did enjoy, Next Generation. So,
well, if there's one thing I know about Chad McCanna is he cares about Klingon honor.
It's really the McCanna family crest.
Your family crest is just forehead ridges.
That's right, and it says we really care about Klingon honor. It's a little wordy. They probably could have shortened it a bit, maybe phrased it in Latin, but now plain English. We really care about Klingon honor,
or maybe Klingon.
Right? That would have made sense.
So anyway, getting back to what were we talking about?
Like Yooka-Laylee.
Oh,
right.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
It's like they're doing so fucking well. Their Kickstarter is now like, I don't even know why we're doing this as like a chain of events, because everyone has been experiencing this in real time.
Again, this is the problem with this episode. This is the conundrum we face,
Right.
because we are used to talking about things that are not esoteric, but things that really you're not going to see the mainstream cover all that much.
Yeah.
You know,
We're the alt media.
Well, I mean, we really do give reverence and attention to this stuff that has been overlooked for the longest time.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, it's a big story when Conker's in Project Spark, but is anybody really going to sit down as Conker fans and really devote a whole episode to it?
Yeah. No, most people would just prefer to sit down in front of their webcam and put fake blood in their mouth and throw that up as if it's an informed opinion.
Oh,
My.
oh, getting spicy like Taco Bell burrito.
Hey.
Yeah, you're a regular gordita tonight, Chet.
That means little fat boy.
Well, if you eat enough Taco Bell, if you live Moss enough.
That's true. Yeah, I'm clearly not living Moss enough, because, as established in a previous show, the pedestrian lifestyle is kind of agreeing with me. But I think I just need to up my Taco Bell game.
I think you do.
Yeah.
I think you need to, as a pedestrian, at least walk to the border.
That's right. Don't necessarily run. Maybe shamble.
Make sure.
That's what causes the zombie apocalypse. People they eat they run to the border, then they eat what the border has to offer, which slows their pace down to a shamble.
Yeah, and it's actually, they're not decaying. They're just covered with cinnamon twist dust.
I can't believe Taco Bell still thinks it can serve a dessert. That just blows my mind.
Twist. And I love how that's their answer to fries. It's cinnamon twist.
Cinnamon twist. These
Not even nachos, just cinnamon twist.
these bastardized versions of Cheetos that you douse in aspartame. Fuck you, cinnamon twists.
Anyway, so back to what the fuck were we talking about? DS9.
Right.
My problem with DS9 is I was like, when's the dual screen come into this?
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at the Kickstarter right now for Yooka-Laylee, and they are at 1.182 million pounds.
Pounds. So this isn't in US dollars. This is fucking pounds.
No, I never changed mine over to US dollars because I wanted.
So it's over 2 million in US dollars.
Is that what the translation is? I don't know what the. I wanted to make sure that I paid exactly the right amount for the rewards that I wanted, so I kept it in pounds because those were the even numbers.
Well, let's talk about what rewards we picked.
Okay, certainly.
Okay, so they have all of these tiers, and we're not going to read all of them.
I got a little stupid with my money.
So did I. But we went for the same tier, but we went for very different prizes.
Very different.
Very different.
Except for like one of them. Everything else is identical.
Yeah. So I went, and I think a lot of people went, who went in on this tier, went for the N64 cartridge.
Yeah, well, clearly a lot of people went because they sold out of them and reasserted that tier to give people more of a chance to get them.
Yeah, they doubled up. Like originally, only 250 were available, and now they added another 250.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is the tier that I went with was a character parade poster signed by the dev team, and so far I am one of 17 people that have snapped that one up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think most of us were just worried about them developing carpal tunnel from signing all of those.
Well, your box is going to get signed as well. You realize that?
Oh yes, my box is indeed going to get
Jesus
signed by them.
Christ. So I wanted the poster because
because you have the Banjo-Kazooie one.
I have the Banjo-Kazooie one that was from the Rareware website contest in 2000. Yeah. In 2000 flat.
In the year 2000. I was doing Zager and Evans.
Oh, well.
In the year 2000.
Well, I was doing the much more famous musician La Bamba. So
So obviously you wanted a matching set. You wanted Banjo-Kazooie and Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah, I mean I wanted a matching set, and I mean while the N64 thing is cool, the cartridge is just going to be a flash drive. it's a USB drive, and the box isn't actually a practical game box. So I mean, it's
still an art piece.
Oh, it's certainly an art piece, and it's going to be fucking awesome. But it's constructed art for the tier, whereas I feel like the character parade poster is more like in the course of making the game. They might as well throw this character art together and put out a poster. So it feels to me a little more like something they would do at Rare. And
here's my perspective.
Okay.
From me as a collector, I think this is like the ultimate package for displaying it on my shelf. So the flash drive is going to have the game on it.
Is it? I thought it was just a but it's not. I thought it was just a 64 gig flash drive.
Oh, well, maybe it is. But regardless, I'm still going to display it on my shelf as the physical representation of Yooka-Laylee.
Okay, see, for me, if I were to display this, I would either display a PC copy or, like, I wouldn't want to misrepresent the system the game was released on, you know? And that's just for my own neurotic display purposes. Obviously, none of this fucking matters.
None of this
matters.
What we're really arguing about is what kind of art piece do we prefer?
Yes,
and I think I think most people agreed with me.
Clearly.
I'm not gonna fault you though, because you have the historical connections to this kind of thing. So yeah obviously you went for that. So bully for you, but the way I thought,
bully for me and 16 of my closest friends.
Yeah, I figured Chewbacca among them. The way I figured it was that I could get an autographed art piece by the team anytime I wanted. I just have to find a way to coerce them into signing it.
What?
Whereas the N64 thing was much more limited, so I better get in when I could for that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think that now the fact that I'm going to be getting one of these signed posters means that the artwork might make the rounds eventually, but
just like a cheap whore.
Yeah, cheap whore. But as a backer, that's my right to do with the reward what I will. I would hope that someone would also like scan the N64 boxes so people could construct them if we wanted to as well. But yeah, it really depends on which one you want authentically signed. And yeah, I guess I uniquely have that. Maybe it's just me and the other 16 people also won that Banjo-Tooie contest.
Yeah, right.
We just all want another thing signed by the same people.
Yeah. So obviously Chad and I spent a horrifying amount of money on this.
It's sort of embarrassing.
And then later that night I upped it more, so I got the T-shirt and art book as well.
I have also upped it for those same reasons.
So we are around $680, right?
No, actually, mine's hovering at 385 pounds because it was 350 and you needed to add 35 pounds to get
right. I'm talking US dollars.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, you're around 680, my friend.
No, 385 is not 680 in US dollars. No way.
Yeah.
3 pounds. I'm going to Google now because this is starting to concern me. 582. 582.
582, but upping it to get all the add-ons.
No, 385 is 582 in US dollars.
Well, I'm going in at 680. So.
I don't know why.
Because I love them more than you do.
All right, man. You can have fun in loving them more than I am.
And they're going to send me a written thanks.
The physical art book seems pretty cool to me.
Yeah. I'm really curious about that. I hope it's nice. I hope it's not leather bound because I'm a vegetarian. I hope it's a nice pleather. I hope it has red line pages, the words of Christ highlighted in red.
Sure.
I don't know. What are you looking for?
Well, we've seen some of the concept art. I'm also looking for my favorite coffee table style books. Not only are just artwork, but also pull quote style annotations from the artists, explaining their work, showing off little idiosyncrasies, and maybe it'd be neat if we saw some of Steve Mail's early designs. And I know, granted, they've only been working on it for 3 months, but
I'm hoping for erotic doodles.
Like in the, it would be nice if there was in the corner like an erotic flip book, so right next to the page number, so you can, as you go through, you can see some horribly offensive thing play out. a second and a half at a time.
Oh yes, indeed.
Or maybe they could just put like Mr. Pants in the corner doing the Egyptian head dance.
That too. I mean, either way, I'm going to get off to it. So, so okay, we haven't really brought this up.
Mm-hmm.
It has set the record for the most successful video game Kickstarter of all time.
What does most successful mean? Because I know other games have gotten more money.
I think in the amount of time it's raised this money.
Oh, okay. Maybe like fastest to 1 million, something.
Fastest. Yeah, it's beat out Half-Life, right? Or
that's you mean the game that Valve may or may not be working on?
I don't know.
The Double Fine Adventure is one.
Double Fine. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and Mighty Number 9 is another.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know.
Janelle's actually in the other room playing the Double Fine Adventure right now. I backed it and wanted to play it on iOS, and they never gave me a pass for iOS, so we just had to fucking buy it.
Oh, thank you, Kickstarter.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tim Schafer.
Tim Schafer.
Yeah, although I did get a
That guy.
documentary out of it that I never watched.
Fahrenheit 9/11.
That's right. Yeah. Tim Schafer and Michael Moore are real tight.
Yeah. Loose Change, maybe.
Oh, what?
The 9/11 Truther movie.
But what about that?
Is that the documentary?
No. We already established it was a Michael Moore thing.
Oh, okay. I was just
fake improv reality.
I was gonna keep rattling off documentaries.
Yeah, Blackfish, was it that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it
7 Up?
Wait, what's 7 Up?
That's the one where they follow a group of kids every 7 years, and then they make a new documentary about
Jesus, documentaries are always so depressing.
them. Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think that's why everyone likes Doug Benson. He just makes documentaries about getting high. What?
Who?
What?
Who?
Doug Benson.
Benson? Is that the Black Butler?
Oh Jesus! You need to check out some podcasts that are not this in the Forum Watch and the Crystal Archives.
Well, actually, Doug Benson was on the Crystal Archive podcast.
He seems to be on every podcast these days.
So anyway, okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do know who Doug Benson is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just wanted to make a Benson the Black Butler joke.
I don't even know what that's a reference to.
The show Benson from the 80s.
I could say the same sentence again.
I think it was a spinoff of Soap.
What the fuck? Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, this is kind of, as a fan of these guys, of Rare, of Platonic.
Yeah.
I think this is wonderful. But I have to admit, I'm also feeling a bit of the hipster mentality where, you know what, I was a fan of this before it was cool.
Yeah, and then there is a bit of that, and that's the petty part of your brain. It's these guys. They've raised £1,183,000 in a day and a half. I love that fact. I love that I can say that sentence. It is just the reptilian, jealous, you feel like these are fair weather fans, people that were, it's just.
Where were these people when Rare needed them? Where were these people? These were the same people who were shit-talking everything Rare was doing way back when, who said they never made anything good. Everybody good from Rare left in 2002.
And that's the crazy thing. The people who, to this day, still yell at Rare, and there is unfortunately quite a bit of people.
I'm going to get up on the soapbox here before the episode is over.
Fair enough. We may as well just both step up there together, because the people who were screaming at Rare and who were saying Platonic is now heralding this new age of gaming don't seem to realize that the people who make up Platonic were working at Rare while they were screaming at Rare. These are the people that you are hyperbolically claiming are destroying an entire industry and just this is sludge. It's the worst thing. It's so cynical and yada yada.
You do realize that a lot of the same people who are making Yooka-Laylee made Nuts and Bolts, right?
Made Connect Sports.
Yes.
These are talented people, and say what you will about the larger direction of these games, but there were very personal attacks, and we are not innocent of that.
No, we look. There is a period of hostility, of negativity, that DK Vine participated in. The difference is, I feel like we've matured out of it. I mean, I'm not turning this into, oh, DK Vine is great, rah rah rah. We're better than everybody else, because we are certainly guilty of our own follies.
Right.
But I look at this, all these people coming in, and they're turning it into Rare versus Platonic.
Yeah, and that's the thing
and there are so many talented people still at Rare, both veterans and people who are relatively newcomers.
I'm fairly confident in saying that we are going to see that talent on display at E3 from Rare.
I have no doubt in my mind.
We joke about like Perry the Parallel Bird Adventures and Diddy Kong Racing Wii U and all that shit.
Wait, joke.
But I
hashtag I believe in Kevin Callahan.
It's true. You still do. He did work in the games industry. I really feel like it's not. This is not some crazy proclamation. I feel pretty confident that we're going to see a reminder of the extraordinary talent at Rare at E3 this year.
Look, everybody, and what I'm worried about, and you saw the reaction to Conker in Project Spark, and how like the first trailer video for it got more downvotes than it got likes.
Yeah,
and it's people who the Rare brand under Microsoft, and it's really Microsoft they're lashing out at, but their Rare is taking a run of it. Go ahead. We were both very passionate about this.
When the Platonic Kickstarter launched, Rare was on their Twitter account. They were very quiet. They sort of laid low. The one tweet they made that day was about charity donations that Rare employees had made. You really don't want to read the comments on that tweet. The people who replied said things like, you're a charity case yourself now. They basically said like, I guess you should be, maybe you should start begging for money like the ukulele guy. It was like these just poison, this vitriol on what was a very pleasant, positive tweet about people donating to charity.
Why would they even do that? Like, what gives you not only the right, but puts the idea in your head that, this is a good use of my time to make these people feel like shit.
Well, there's
these people who brought me so much joy in my life that I feel this passionate about, that I've got to be a little twat.
Yeah.
And like really, why? Like, Lee Loveday runs a Twitter. Let's ruin his day.
Yeah, I think that, and not to forget Emma, who also runs it with them. Like it's.
Oh, sorry, Emma.
Well, she puts hers in brackets. I think ER or something. Yeah. Anyway,
ER. Rare's gonna have to go to the emergency room.
Yeah, that's definitely letters that also mean something other than what I said.
Noah Wiley's gonna have to operate on them. Platonic's George Clooney. They've got the career. I'm done.
Are you done? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. If I knew anyone else from ER, I'd help you out, but you got both of my touchstones.
Maura Tierney. I liked her on news radio.
Okay. I don't know, man. You take on the soapbox. You took my momentum and destroyed it.
You know what was a spinoff of Soapbox? Benson Box.
Benson. Yeah. I saw that one coming.
All right. No, I'm sorry, Chad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to kick you off the soapbox.
It's your turn now.
Yeah, it's
man. So I fucking hate Walking Dead, right?
Well, I'm sure a lot of these people who are making these anti-Rare statements are Walking Dead fans.
Yeah.
As you said, as we both said, the people at Platonic or at Rare during this period of Rare, you're bemoaning and accusing Rare of being a shell of their former selves.
And there's a difference between like these broad statements of I don't like the direction of nuts and bolts versus everyone who is talented at Rare left in 2002, which is a very barbed personal attack on the people who are still there.
That's not even factually true.
It's not even well, it's a subjective statement that has no basis in fact.
And that's where a lot of this is coming from. It's people who have some sort of loose narrative in their head that's been shored up by various faulty sources and various popular
YouTube personalities.
Yeah. And so it cements this narrative in their mind, and they're not going to do the research for themselves.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the internet has great... It is a great tool for spreading information, but it also has turned the entire human race into a game of telephone.
Yeah, and not even like a good telephone game like share your dick pics. It's turning into just he said, she said. And it's this guy said this one thing, and I like other things that guy did. So therefore that person has credibility, and I'm going to parrot what they said over and over and over, regardless of whether it was factually accurate or just something that their parrot literally said in their YouTube video. And you know what the reaction to anything Rare tries to do is overwhelmingly negative, and I think under Microsoft it just becomes such a poisonous brand. And
and we shouldn't tell people, or we shouldn't be. Don't get us wrong. People are allowed to have their opinions.
Yeah, and look, like we were disappointed with Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah.
We were disappointed with the seemingly endless string of Kinect Sports, but we also put that into perspective.
Yes. And when you have such a huge audience, maybe this is going against the anarchic nature of the internet, the very laissez-faire libertarian ideals of
the Walking Dead universe, where you can just shoot people without care.
This is the Walking Dead universe where you can spray misleading and potentially hostile information to a very wide audience, and
you could try to rape a kid and then get eaten by cannibals.
Sunday nights on AMC. Yeah, it's that kind of uplifting rhetoric. People, they don't look into things for themselves. They don't form their own ideas, and unfortunately, controversy is much more appealing to people than reasoned thought.
Well, not only that, but it's also more entertaining than reasoned
Well, that's
thought.
what I mean by appealing. Yeah, it's
but it's easy entertainment, and you can create self-righteous humor based on that. That even if it's without merit, everybody likes to be in the right. Everybody likes to be a warrior for some cause, and
hashtag not all men.
Yeah. And there's
I don't even know what these hashtags mean anymore. Don't think that I'm advocating some weird gamer political stance. It's just
Chad is not a red pill.
I don't know what it. Oh, that's that thing where like men are super misogynistic.
MRA, baby.
Okay.
Men rights. Yeah.
Oh,
male rights. Excuse me. Clearly, I'm not invited to that.
Yeah, you've taken like a chartreuse pill.
Well, I take estrogen pills every day just to be safe. It's as we've been Rare fans for 20 years, man. We like, and I'm not saying like we have a better perspective than a lot of people, but
we do have a historical perspective that a lot of people don't.
Look, oh my God, just last month, Gavin Price had an interview where he explains the whole situation with Rare, and that it's not Rare, it's not even Microsoft, it's the Stampers left.
Yeah, the Stampers left, and the studio didn't have like that sort of creative direction and vision that it did, and there was a lot
and not
of
only that,
chaos.
but the whole industry was changing too. Like they couldn't be operating the same way they did in the 90s.
The AAA model demanded a lot more resources and was a lot riskier, and there were concerns about the marketing of their games. There were concerns about projects that didn't really go anywhere, which was a model that the Stampers established to allow a lot of R&D to happen, and then only the best ones would turn into finished games. But that might have been a smaller team, older school mentality, but when the Stampers left, they weren't there to shepherd that style of running a studio into the new world. So Microsoft sent in a lot of people. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, a lot of probably the fact that promotions didn't really happen over the course of Rare led to a lot of chaos. I heard that when Chris Seaver left the company, he was still technically on payroll as an animator. You know, as opposed to like a project director.
And look, don't get me wrong. I mean, think back to the episode where we last season where we discussed the layoffs at Rare.
Right.
And I ended it with a very passionate like fuck you to Microsoft. And I don't. You know what? I mean, I'm still upset that those layoffs happened, but they gave us Playtonic.
Chris Sutherland was among those layoffs.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what we've been tiptoeing around. But it hurt at the time, and it really did hurt. And I stand by what I said. But you know what? Chris Sutherland landed on his feet and formed Playtonic.
Yeah, and another thing that we probably didn't consider as much as we should have when we recorded that episode is that it also hurt for the people at Rare that had been
absolutely.
friends and colleagues with these people for decades. It was like nobody enjoyed this, and it was probably some business reality that it was just, there's a bottom line. These are businesses, and shit's not always as great as you would want, but to really point fingers without knowing exactly what's gone down, to me it's making a lot of assumptions that can get very barbed and very personal very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And look, Playtonic, the way we're viewing it, and the way I think, honestly, the Playtonic guys are probably viewing it is they're their own entity, they're their own thing, but they're also kind of just another development team from Rare who have kind of gone off and they're in their own studio space, but they should be viewed as an extension, the Benson to Rare's soap.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, they're not at odds with each other. They're complementary.
Mm-hmm.
They're Gavin Price said he wants to work with Rare. He wants to have crossovers. He wants to, have collaboration.
I'm thinking. I'm still holding out that will be a stretch goal down the line. I mean, something like that would have to obviously require some conversation and some legal consideration.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of besides the soapbox point, but you do realize, I know you do, that their Kickstarter ends the day of Nintendo's E3 reveals.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
don't know. Like we've been talking about crossovers with Rare.
Yeah.
What about crossovers with Nintendo? Because this is a nice thing about Playtonic as kind of a Rare that's now independent from Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's that or a Rare team that's independent from Microsoft. It's that they can collaborate with Microsoft and Rare. They can collaborate with Nintendo.
Yeah. Let's the Banjo-Kazooie-esque style of ukulele has gotten the lion's share of the headlines, but let's also not forget that this same team created the modern Kong series.
I love in the Kickstarter that they're referred to as the rebooted Kong family.
Nice.
Because that is what we've always maintained, that Donkey Kong Country is more of a reboot than not. It's ground zero. It is not. Hence why we don't cover the arcade games.
Right. Yeah.
So that was a nice little aha moment for me. But so Nintendo, collaboration with them, I think our ultimate stretch goal, which we kind of hinted at, was for the Wii U version.
Yeah.
Perhaps Yooka-Laylee. How should we sound that out? Because Banjo-Kazooie, we only really refer to them as Banjo-Kazooie and things like, wouldn't it be great to see Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Brothers? But
I think
talking in the context of their game, though, we usually say Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah, it's Yooka and Laylee. And they've done the same thing on their Kickstarter. They've referred to them with Yooka and Laylee. We believe that they've captured the spirit of. Oh, by the way, this paragraph that I'm reading is about the art style specifically, and we said that Steve Mails, alongside I think Kev Bayless was the other artist on DKC, created the modern Kongs. But we've also talked, at length about how Donkey Kong Country specifically took a lot of inspiration from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So
Yeah.
this paragraph on the Kickstarter that I'm only now reading because it's like an image with text in it. It says, Steve has captured the spirit of past heroes while introducing the most inventive moves yet seen in any of our team's work. Like a cyborg Indiana Jones, our heroes are equipped for adventure.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know. I guess the cyborg Indiana Jones would have, like, his whip as part of his robot body. Like maybe that's what they're getting at. But
do they mention a Roomba short round?
Yeah. No time for the corners, Dr. Jones. It took me about a half a beat too long to come up with that. And
yeah, you really failed. You really should just hang it up. I'll get Doug Benson in there.
There you go. Yeah.
And he could also be my butler too, so it's win-win. Yeah, so Yooka-Laylee in a Nintendo version could
interact with the Kongs. Diddy.
Interact with Donkey and Diddy, or Diddy and Dixie if you want to go for... By the way...
Or Dixie and Kitty, Mario and Yoshi. Okay, we get the point.
So what's the big deal?
Gin Jones.
If somebody put a gun to my head, I could probably recite that whole damn Banjo-Kazooie promotional video. So it should be worth pointing out that Yooka, the chameleon, is a male, and Laylee, the bat, is female.
And I like the fact that Laylee has no identifying female characteristics, not even eyelashes.
I am a little bit... The DK Vine forum was speculating about their gender, and
yeah.
the most popular idea, or at least it was when I checked out the thread, was that they would both be women. That they would both be girls, or I don't know what their age range is, but they would both be female characters, and I like that. I thought that would be an incredibly progressive idea to have two women as the stars of this cartoony 3D platformer. Yeah. Alas, they went with the Banjo-Kazooie model, which... Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it really has much bearing on the success or failure of the game. I think the only risk would be if the characters were defined by their gender, which Banjo and Kazooie never were.
No. Most people don't even realize Kazooie's a girl unless they're paying attention.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think it is completely inconsequential.
So anyway, my thing is, if they wanted to match the buddy dynamic with a male-female duo, then Diddy and Dixie. Plus, they'd be the most uniquely rare of rare created duo, where Donkey is more associated with Nintendo.
Right. But either way, it would be the sort of characters that this team created that potentially Yooka-Laylee would be crossing over with. Yeah,
and this is an idea that Gavin Price suggested with Banjo-Kazooie, that on the Xbox version, Yooka-Laylee would meet up with Banjo-Kazooie and have to find a Jiggy for them as opposed to a Pagey.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And then maybe in the Nintendo version, they could find a golden banana for the Kongs.
What I would absolutely adore, if there's something in the pipeline like a Banjo 3 from Rare and or another Donkey Kong game that would work in this way, it would be so cool if there was actually... And we may have talked about this off the air, or perhaps on it. It all blurs together.
It's all blur at this point.
Like consider each game as a circle in a Venn diagram, and the little sliver where they overlap would actually be gameplay from both sides of the game. So you would see, basically, Yooka-Laylee would be treating Banjo and Kazooie like the same NPC mindless idiots who ask for your help, and they're sort of confused at how each other sort of seem to have this sense of urgency, whereas usually people are just sort of milling about, But it would be so great if, you could, if you play Banjo-Kazooie, you would encounter Yooka-Laylee on this adventure, and vice versa.
Yeah, I know, and suddenly they're the mindless idiots who are asking for your help.
Right, yeah. And they're not quite understanding, something like that could be done very well, I think.
Should we talk about how Yooka-Laylee is just quite clearly just a Banjo-Kazooie game with the pieces switched out?
How so?
Yooka-Laylee are like Banjo-Kazooie, and then it just seems to be and even down to the font, this is quite clearly, hey, this is a Banjo-Kazooie game, but we can't use Banjo-Kazooie, so here you go.
Yeah, it's like they've done everything.
That's what I mean when I say it's ballsy of them.
Yeah,
because it's quite clearly, we're making a Banjo-Kazooie game, but we're not with Rare anymore. So.
I'm willing to bet they consulted a lawyer or two before going too far with this. But yeah, it's fine. And I think that as those are their games and their characters, maybe not financially.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just I didn't know what to expect with Yooka-Laylee when it was Project Ukulele. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that it's hewing as closely to Banjo-Kazooie as it is.
Yeah, and I don't have really a problem with it. I think it'll be interesting for if Rare has something along these lines coming out.
And that's what I'm worried about for Rare, because what if the game they're working on is Banjo 3, essentially like it's gonna just take the wind out of the sails so much.
I don't think it will. I think there's room enough.
I agree. I mean, from our perspective, there's room. I'm talking about the idiots out there who get their opinions from millionaire YouTube personalities who are gonna say, well, Banjo 3, this isn't Banjo 3. We're gonna hate this game. Downvote, downvote, downvote.
Yeah. Well,
Rare doesn't deserve that.
As convincing an argument as spurting ketchup from your mouth to look like blood is, I would like to
at least do it from your privates. That's where the hilarity is.
Yeah, you'll get flagged on YouTube if you do that, though.
Send a bloody dick pic out to the people who give you your cell phone address, cell phone number.
As enticing and intelligent as that level of commentary is, I hope that at least we can continue to remind people that everything is not a competition, and there's room enough in your heart to be a fan of two things at once instead of just one thing.
Yeah, why would it be bad if, like, let's say Rare was making a Banjo game, like, oh, you're getting two awesome 3D platformers. Oh no.
Because people have this narrative in their head that there's been some like slap in the face to either from Rare or by Rare. It's just people have constructed all of this drama so that they don't even really understand the fundamental reasons for it, or really the chain of events surrounding these things they're pissed about.
See, this started for the people turned against Rare. Nintendo fans turned against Rare.
Yeah.
And then Rare fans turned against Microsoft, and then essentially Rare itself.
Yeah. And
now with, I think, Yooka-Laylee, the Nintendo fans are like, well, well, this is like they're. I don't think you're gonna find too many people anymore, like Nintendo fans, who are saying Rare is overrated or their games weren't any good. I think we're past that, or finally getting past that.
Right.
But it's just like all these people coming out of the woodwork, and again, it's a little. It's great for the Platonic guys, and I'm so happy for them. It's a little disheartening that it's coming at the expense of Rare and all this history behind it, and it's just.
Maybe we're overblowing it. Maybe this is an edge case that's on social media now because Platonic's in the news, and this sort of rhetoric will die down.
I am worried that it's just going to follow Rare, and it's going to be a millstone around their neck. And it's not supposed to be that way. They can work together. They're complementary. It's
I know, and it feels like we're crazy people, and thankfully DK Vine at large, at least in our forum, is sort of an embodiment of the reasoned consideration that we're talking about, that we would like to see in a wider sense. But it's discouraging that we feel like that safe haven. And there are people who are seeing what should be an extremely positive time for 3D platforming and for people who love Rare games. They're seeing that as an opportunity to shit all over people who are very talented.
Absolutely. And this is the times where I wish we were larger as so as a website, as have a bigger audience, so we could have more of an influence on this debate.
So then we can play Super Mario 3D World and spurt ketchup from our mouths.
No, again, from our dick holes.
That's right.
I established we would squirt fake blood from our dick holes.
That's the DK Vine twist, baby.
Well, if you twist it enough, you will get blood.
See, this is the point in the show where we would normally just cut straight to the tagline.
Yeah. Because the conversation, it builds and builds and builds, and then it just kind of ends.
Yeah. But we actually need to discuss.
We have a debate.
In what capacity will the website be covering it?
Yes. So here's the thing. DK Vine, we follow games, basically everything that spawns from Donkey Kong Country, which much the way soap websites cover Benson.
Yes.
We follow Donkey Kong Country games, every game with the Donkey Kong Country style Kongs in them.
It's a very character-based branching out.
And the spin-offs, right?
Yeah.
And occasionally people will come in and be like, why don't you cover Saber Wolf for the Game Boy Advance?
Well, Saber Wolf was established before the Donkey Kong universe began in a series of games on the Spectrum. I mean, Saber Man was established, and then he showed up in Banjo-Tooie.
But he wasn't rebooted like the Kongs
No,
were.
there was actually continuity from those early Ultimate Play the Game titles with Banjo-Tooie. He mentioned exactly when, I think it was Mire came out, where basically over the course of a handful of games, maybe a half dozen or so, the character Saberman on the Spectrum, ultimately there was one game he beat where there were 3 doors you could pick, and then there were going to be those 3 realities and the adventures that Saberman lived out, but 2 of them were canceled and only 1 came out. I think that was Mire.
But by the way, I just remembered. I'm referring to the Kongs as rebooted in Donkey Kong Country, which kind of betrays the argument we had against I Am Gibbon when he called into the show the other week, where he said the Nintendo likes to reboot Donkey Kong every decade or so.
Right.
My argument was, no, Nintendo doesn't like to do that. Nintendo doesn't do that, but Rare definitely did.
It's a visual reboot.
Yeah. I mean, the continuity was still there.
Yeah.
The arcade games happened, but it was a complete rethink of the series, and the characters were recreated. Like the arcade versions of the characters don't really mesh with the Kong.
Right.
Which is why we say the arcade versions were just arcade games made by Cranky.
Right. But so Saberman was established in an earlier title, so the Donkey Kong universe doesn't explicitly follow him into his own game, Saber Wolf on the Game Boy Advance.
He exists in the universe, but he's not a product of the universe.
Because, and here's our reasoning, if we did just follow every single character that showed up, then, by the first Super Smash Bros. Game, we are now covering all of Nintendo.
Or, it's Tommy Westfall.
Yeah, it gets insane.
Unhinged, yeah.
And, some of the fun of the Tommy Westfall universe is how crazily intricate that flowchart can get. But there's also not a website dedicated to the spirit of, any show. It's not like there's a Saint Elsewhere website that now has to cover Lost.
Right.
It's or
right.
Seinfeld.
Or Soap. The famous soap fan website, soapbox.com.
Right. Yeah, not to be confused with the Benson Interruption, which is everyone's favorite Benson the Butler / Doug Benson fan site.
Right, that's very, very peculiar. That there's only like 3 guys on that website.
It's just really people who like the way that those 2 syllables sound together.
But hey, there's something for everybody on the internet.
That's true.
So, so obviously, there's been discussion that maybe the Kongs and Banjo-Kazooie will appear in iterations of Yooka-Laylee.
In fact, there was discussion on that exact topic about 3 minutes ago.
But maybe you have the memory of a goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, maybe Royston the goldfish will appear in Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah.
Or at least a nondescript goldfish that taps on a bowl 3 times.
That's all we ask.
That's all we ask. And really, I mean, is that so much to ask for?
But there's... Right now, what we're trying to do, and if anyone's questioning whether we're going to give this game full coverage, the answer is yes.
Yeah. At the very least, we would give it full coverage as an honorable mention.
Well, yeah, and I feel like it goes against the spirit of the law to ignore this game as opposed to the letter of the law. And the law being our ridiculous, arbitrary DKU rules.
This is almost a unique case that we would have never seen coming.
Yeah.
In that, the whole history, the twisting saga of Rare over the last, 13 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have predicted it when we formed DK Vine, and then we get something like Yooka-Laylee, which is, a spiritual successor in so many ways of the Banjo-Kazooie series. made by the same people. It's just like, how do you process something like that as a fan of a fan that's of a website that's very character based?
Yeah. So there's, while it seems like we may have to wait to really confirm whether or not this game is going to have any.
You really want to confirm it tonight?
I think there might be an opportunity for us to confirm it tonight. To say, given what we know about Yooka-Laylee, we can confirm that it is a Donkey Kong Universe game based on the merits of our current set of rules, precedent that has been established with designating certain things Donkey Kong Universe. And not really needing to create that special circumstance that you alluded to.
I will be a little skeptical. I will be the dog at your Agent Reyes, but let's hear it out. I want to hear the case you're going to make.
All right. Well, I would like to get into it, but Noel Rule is chasing me.
Well, you know what? He's chasing you, but he's probably going to get busy championing men's rights online. So.
Oh shit! Did he show up on the
#Gamergate?
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Adam Baldwin.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Noel Roar.
Noel
Roar.
Yeah, the guy.
Noel Roar lost his job on his in the movie The Roar Drawer after the Gamergate nonsense.
Yeah. I think these days now he's just licensing out his name so Chris Sutherland can mumble it as a character voice.
No roar.
So this is a joke that is they're literally. I talked about Venn diagrams earlier. The only people who would find that funny are you and me.
And Adam Baldwin.
And Adam Baldwin would he would clean his gun while weeping softly.
Then honestly, we've referenced the Roar Juror, so I'm sure Alec Baldwin would also find it funny. So really, the Venn diagram is us and various Baldwins.
That are not related.
That are not related.
Just people are fans of the way those two syllables sound together. So, shit. So, all right.
That's my favorite reaction to the realization of one of our tangents.
Shit. What have we just been talking about? One of the Kickstarter goals that they just obliterated, it was the 1.1 million pound
All
mark.
of the Kickstarter goals, but one they've obliterated so far.
Yeah, well, their original docket they certainly got through, and the game is or the campaign's been going for a day and a half. They're doing great. Going Old School is the name of this. It's an N64 shader mode, which I'm kind of interested in. I don't know if they're going to do like a low poly version or like a filter that makes it look low poly. I don't know. It should be cool. But in addition to that, a GK rap and video written by Grant Kirkhope. Obviously, they
GK, which means Grant Kirkhope.
I'd imagine. They can't say DK rap, but we all know what they're talking about. And so they being Platonic, announced this without consulting with Grant Kirkhope whether he would do it. So,
well, Grant Kirkhope did have a lovely rendition of the Spiral Mountain theme on a ukulele posted on YouTube yesterday.
Oh, that was fantastic. Yeah, and a kazoo. Yeah.
And I love how LA he is now. He's sitting by the pool wearing a SoCal shirt.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, wow, Grant Kirkhope, what happened?
You're really
to you?
soaking it in, aren't you, mate?
Yeah.
But
hey man.
It's LA.
Yeah, it's ukulele.
Yeah. So Grant basically, obviously he's totally good-natured about it. He was basically saying to Chris Sutherland, who was one of the two DK rappers with George Andreas,
which, by the way, didn't George Andreas actually write the lyrics to it?
I'm not sure who wrote the lyrics. I think it was someone else. George.
I think it was George Andreas who wrote the lyrics.
Okay. George Andreas now works for Sony, so he left Rare.
Oh, does he? He did leave Rare.
Yeah, I think in 2013 he left. So I don't know if they'll be able to get in touch with him, but we do know that Chris Sutherland will be reprising what Grant Kirkhope called his role as one of the rappers. So they're obviously thinking of these as characters.
Oh, God.
So here's the question.
Okay.
If the DK rappers from the intro to Donkey Kong 64, if we can say that rap was a diegetic rap in that within the universe of that game, that rap occurred and those rappers live within that universe, then I think the fact that rapper will also live again, playing the same role as Grant Kirkhope put it in Yooka-Laylee, means that by way of that rapper, it is now creating its own branch of the Donkey Kong universe parallel to Banjo and Conker. It's basically spinning out of a Donkey Kong game by way of Chris Sutherland's rapper.
Okay, I see where you're going with that. And let me tell you about the in-universe, I guess, position that the DK rap holds.
Okay.
Because the DK rap is a thing in context of the fictional universe, and I say fictional in quotes because we all know it's a really real thing.
Of course, it's off the coast of Africa.
Yeah, off the coast of Africa.
Don't be
right.
ridiculous.
So don't be ridiculous, Balky. Meepos is also in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, Meepos is part of the rare island chain.
The rare archipelago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who do you think was tending all those goats that showed up in Wingding or whatever the?
Now we all know that Balky was a sheep herder, not a goat herder. So he would have been tending to the bleeders from Grunty's Revenge.
See, you've corrected me, and now I'm going to do the dance of shame.
The dance of shame is just where you jump out a window.
Right. It's not as whimsical as the dance of joy.
Yeah. So obviously, okay. So the DK rap appeared in 1999's Donkey Kong 64, but it was in the pre-title screen. Whatever. It was a pre-title screen video, so the canon status of it was dubious. At best.
Is it actually happening, or is it just sort of for the benefit of us, the gamers at home?
It would next appear in seriously altered form in 2001 Super Smash Bros. Melee, playing over the Congo jungle stage. It was performed by different rappers.
Yes.
And also they edited the hell to be heck because because even though it's a teen rated game, we have to clean it up for the kids.
Sure.
Okay, 2005, Donkey Kong Country 2 comes out for the Game Boy Advance in a port form. Obviously, like I just said, like not all ports. Only one Donkey Kong Universe port improves on the original, and that was certainly not Donkey Kong Country 2 Game Boy Advance, but it had new dialogue with Funky Kong, where actually a new mini game where you have to retrieve Funky Kong's boombox, which has been taken by the Crippling crew. You have to carry the boombox with, I think, the prototype gyrocopter, which was eventually finalized in Country 3.
Sure.
So you get the boombox back to Funky, and he says, and I'm not quoting verbatim here because I don't have the quote in front of me, but he says he's going to use it to listen to the DK rap all night long.
Well, but wait, Hyle. Canonically,
yes.
Donkey Kong Country 2 Game Boy Advance takes place in 1995. It's not a separate adventure. If the DK rap came out in 1999, how could Funky be referencing it? We don't even know Chunky, Lanky, or Tiny Kong yet.
By the way, Donkey Kong Country 2 Game Boy Advance came out in 2004. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I don't want letters. I don't want phone calls. Right. It came out in 2004.
Yeah. We just spent half the show yelling about how fans don't understand the timeline.
Right, yeah. Clearly we're frauds. And you should hate Rare.
Right.
Okay, so that's a very good point, Chad. And I thought long and hard about this.
Okay.
I have spent many sleepless nights and days trying to work out a solution.
So just to recap, this is the point we're at right now. We need to determine whether or not the DK rap exists in universe.
We just got to keep this clear for the listeners.
If it does, that means that Chris Sutherland's rapper is an in-universe character and could bridge the gap between Donkey Kong 64 and Yooka-Laylee. But right now, for some reason, this DK rap, which, as far as we know, only came out in 1999, is being referenced in 1995 by Funky Kong.
So,
yes,
let's look at Donkey Kong games, the universe, Donkey Kong universe. Let's look at Donkey Kong Island in 1995.
Okay,
there's something called the DK rap out there. Well, what would this be pertaining to? More than likely, it was a rap that came out in early 95, or maybe the middle of 95, probably the middle of 95, but Funky's still listening to it because he's pretty trendy.
Yeah, he bombs downhill with the monkey.
He does, which was a very popular activity in 1995, apparently.
Yeah.
So
Get in the boat, the banana boat.
whoever these DK rappers were, which there were two of them, they must have released a single in sometime in 1995 based on the exploits of Donkey and Diddy in late 1994 when they first battled King K. Rool and retrieved the banana horde.
Makes sense to me.
So this is the original DK rap, which we've actually never heard.
Right.
Something about Donkey and Diddy getting the bananas back. 1999, the Kongs defeat K. Rool once again. The five Kongs, Donkey, Diddy, Tiny, Chunky, Lanky, they defeat King K. Rool and defeat him and destroy the Blastomatic cannon.
Right.
So the DK rappers, 5 years later, they're like, hey, man, we had this one hit with the DK rap. Well, the Kongs have made news again. We could really like cash in on this, maybe get another hit.
Right. And the Kongs see it as a good opportunity for some PR. They know their golden bananas are scattered. And, hey, perhaps if people know they're coming, trying to collect the bananas to save everyone's ass, then maybe they'll be a little more agreeable to giving them up. So, sure, you scratch our backs, we'll wrap yours, and...
Wait, so you're saying that... So this is what I'm calling the DK Rap 99.
Yeah.
And this is the DK rap we're all familiar with. So in universe, that is. Of course, there's only one DK rap in our world. But
just to keep it straight.
Just to keep it straight, because I know you're taking notes at home.
Yes.
It's just this awful like note page with Venn diagrams and Benson and
yeah. If anyone tried to keep track of what the hell we've been talking about this episode, they would look like a crazy person. This would be the scene in A Beautiful Mind where he gets committed.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, DK Rap 99. Now, I took that to be, if there was a DK Rap 99, it was produced after the events of Donkey Kong 64, immediately after. And you're saying that it was produced sometime in the middle of that adventure, like after like all the Kongs were rescued, like sometime after Frantic Factory, they all decided, let's go make a rap video.
Okay, no, that's actually... Well, I guess then when would the rap have come out? Because would it... Yeah, I mean, that's the question then, isn't it? When would it have come out, and why would they have agreed to do it? Perhaps it was...
Well, by saying agreeing to do it, you mean film a music video, which is what we would have seen at the beginning of Donkey Kong 64.
I say why would the Kongs, including Cranky, have agreed to participate in the video?
Doesn't seem like Cranky's bag, does it?
It doesn't, but
by bag I mean colonoscopy bag, which is the only bag Cranky would have.
Here's an idea. Perhaps it was part of the 101% Dolphin auditions. You know, that same shoot. They obviously had studio space.
Well, but the Dolphin auditions weren't canon, were they? That's just a fun little extra.
I don't know. Maybe.
Donkey and K. Rool play patty cake. How is that canon?
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. The question though is still. I think that we've already answered our question. Basically, we've stated that this song exists within the reality of the games.
Well, it also reappeared in 2004's Donkey Konga in the Super Smash Brothers form, and that is in universe where the bongos apparently pick up songs either in radio waves or just whatever is in the air at the moment. They're magical bongos,
right?
You know?
Right, of course.
But it was
you don't have to explain the physics of magical bongos to me, Hyle.
I know if there's anybody I wouldn't have to explain the physics of magical bongos to is Chad McCanna.
Everyone knows that. It's on my family crest.
Yeah, in Klingon. All right. So there was a Smash Brothers version in Donkey Konga. So the Smash Brothers version has to exist canonically in the Donkey Kong universe. We know that for a fact. But that's not the same version with the rappers that Grant Kirkhope, not Grant Kirkhope, but that Chris Sutherland and George Andreas portrayed.
Right.
The ones that you're arguing are characters who are going to reappear in Yooka-Laylee, or at least Chris Sutherland's rapper is going to reappear in Yooka-Laylee.
I think it's reasonable to say that the fact that there was a derivative, cleaned up version of the song, means that the original version did exist. There was there was an adventure that involved the 5 Kongs referenced in the clean version of the rap that we know is in universe thanks to Donkey Konga 2. But I think that's basically like the radio play where all of a sudden CeeLo is singing about forgetting people instead of fucking them.
It's the Kids Bop version.
It's the Kids Bop version of what was a very popular hardcore rap.
Very hardcore. They said hell, man.
They did say
HE double hockey sticks.
Yeah, that's it was pretty disturbing.
I mean, and then of course there was also the edited lyric where they were talking about how Cranky likes to stuff the cunts.
Yeah, that
with his cane.
That one was excised for time. Had nothing to do with content, really. It was just getting a little long. But yeah, I feel like it's not going outside of bounds to say that those rappers are characters within the Donkey Kong universe. That the depiction that we saw at the intro for DK64 was a music video that was recorded for the rap that we know exists in universe. And we now have 2 new characters played by George Andreas and Chris Sutherland, one of whom will be appearing via audio in Yooka-Laylee.
Would one of these rappers be called Dude Diligence?
I don't think we should presume anything like that. But
okay. Okay, I am on board with it. As a get out of jail free card.
So here's the thing. We've said we're going to cover the game. Whether it's the most thoroughly covered honorable mention or whether it's a proper DKU game really doesn't matter to us.
It's going to be a new branch. It's going to be we have Donkey Kong, we have Banjo, we have Conker, we have DKU Star Fox, we have Fish and Chaps, which is the Banjo-Kazooie spinoffs, and we have Cameo, which is the crossover.
But the rule for a new official branch is a game that's spun out of a Donkey Kong game. And here, if we go with Chris Sutherland's rapper, we have that.
Well, also, this is pretty much big enough to, it's going to be a whole shared universe.
Yeah.
And I use universe in their terminology, but if it's part of the Donkey Kong universe, it's going to be part of that larger framework. So I say we just call it Platonic.
These are Platonic games, much like we have Banjo games. It's the Platonic series.
So no matter what, we're not. I don't say we pull the ripcord yet.
Oh, come on, let's commit. Commit, man.
This is gonna happen.
Just commit.
This is gonna happen.
Come on.
Listen.
Come on. Listen. You listen.
I'm a freewheeling bachelor, man. I can't commit. Can't hold me down.
You're edging into Clinton territory.
Hey, baby, man, I can't help where that dick winds up. I'm just a freewheeling 42, man.
I spend all my time in Fish and Chaps games anyway, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I play with my tonic, I play with it all night. I play with it during meetings. I play with my tonic,
meetings.
Man. During meetings when I'm on the red phone with Boris Yeltsin, man, I'm playing with that tonic, man. I mean, he puts his tonic back. I call by tonic, I'm referring to my penis.
Please unseen. Can we unseen that, please? Please.
My thing is that this is going to be covered by us, and in one way or another, it's going to be DKU. But I'm afraid if we give up the good fight now.
What good fight? Let's just say it's DKU so we can make the forum and we can give it a proper section on the website. Look, if we're already saying...
Okay, if this was a music video, then why are Kremlings in it? And right after this vicious battle with them.
I feel like those were Kremlings that were not destroyed over the course of Donkey Kong 64.
Destroyed, as if the Kongs violently, mutilate them.
They hit them with projectile fruit. That exploded. No, I feel.
Is that how Nickelodeon killed the kids in the grocery store?
That's right. Yeah, Clump took one too many rides on the pie coaster.
Now we all know it's about the pie slide.
That's true. So no, what I'm saying is that these Kremlings probably broke into the studio during recording this video, and that was
the music video ends with a Clump hurling a grenade at them.
Yeah, he blew up the camera equipment. That was an actual attack that was depicted. Shrinks in size to suit her mood, and she kicks a giant claptrap. That was actually happening. They didn't expect to have any of that for the video. It was a kind of a happy accident that the Kongs got to prove their heroism and probably save the lives of Chris Sutherland and George Andreas.
That's a really shitty rap video, though. I mean, it was just like, just in like a blackened studio. They didn't even have a backdrop.
Yep. Hey, who am I to argue with the aesthetics of Rare Archipelago videographers, huh?
That's true.
Yeah.
So was this aired on DKTV? Is that like the MTV of the Donkey Kong Island?
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. In Donkey Kong 64, if you leave the game running without pressing any buttons, you see.
You mean at the beginning?
At the beginning. Not like when your character's standing there, but before you've gone through the menus, after you watch the DK rap, then you are treated to footage of the Kongs exploring the environments from the game with DKTV in all four corners. I'm thinking that this rap video that we watched was followed by more DKTV programming, and that's really what we're seeing from the point where the Rare logo leaves the screen to the point where you start a new game. That's the stream from DKTV, not to be confused with the other DKTV, which is a surrealist French nightmare.
We've never really talked about that on this show, by the way.
We'll get into it later because that's enough to carry its whole episode.
I think that'll be a good Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So
Come on.
I'm on.
The rapper is a character. Let's just say it.
The rappers are characters.
Well, the rappers are characters. One of them is our connective tissue, and we know that in all likelihood that connective tissue will be further fleshed out as we learn more about Yooka-Laylee. But for now, it's enough to say it's DKU one way or another.
Will you at least grant me a favor?
Certainly.
Grant Kirkhope me a favor.
Sure.
Can we at least take this debate to the forum? Because I want to hear what the people have to say. I'm probably gonna sign off on it, but we've had long the history of granting making games DKU, not making them, but acknowledging them as DKU.
Sure.
Viva Pinata, it's Mr. Pants. There's hell, even Star Fox at times.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been long and lengthy debates that have been heated but fun.
Okay.
And I don't want to take that out of the hands of the community.
You just want someone else to make your decisions for you.
No. Look, this is going to be DKU one way or another. I am absolutely sure of it. It's just this is like when Mr. Ribs appeared in Viva Pinata, and we were like, is that the real Mr. Ribs or not? And
Aussie Ben created his old Aussie Ben universe.
Yeah.
So he
and
could
ultimately,
cover it.
but you know what happened there? Lee Loveday came forward and said, no, that's not actually Mr. Ribs. That's just a Mr. Ribs prop. But then he said the goldfish is Royston.
right. The one the Bifos had over her head.
So I'm saying, is this a Royston situation, or is this a Mr. Ribs prop situation? We need to take it to the people, and I want to hear what they have to say.
All right. Well, really, the key things that the people need to focus on. Well, all right.
Or exactly what Chad wants.
No. I just want people to remember this rap occurred in universe.
Oh yeah. Listen to the discussion we just had.
Yeah,
because I'm
and
on
also
board with
there
that.
is precedent for a character being declared Donkey Kong Universe after only appearing via audio. The Get Out. The crosshair, who we call crosshairs, has never actually been seen. We've only seen the aiming reticle from his gun, which is apparently the first-person camera for that part of the game. Yeah. Or the third-person camera is his first-person view.
And of course, we've a character has been established as a Donkey Kong Universe character through the medium of television and Mr. Pants.
That's true. So, if this music video actually happened, the song that we know exists in universe was actually being performed by these rappers. We also know that another song will be performed by Chris Sutherland playing the same role, Grant Kirkhope's words.
If they can get George Andreas in there, because technically he could do it. He's with Sony, but he could do it.
Yeah, but we don't need two rappers. We just need the one. So it really that wouldn't add or subtract anything to the conversation.
No, I know, but it would break my heart if the DK rappers broke up. I mean, they had 2 hits.
Hey, maybe two.
Is this like a Milli Vanilli situation where one of them committed suicide?
I don't know enough about the history of Milli Vanilli to continue that that line.
Oh well, they were accused of lip syncing.
I know that.
Accused. They did lip sync, and then one of them
like on
eventually killed
on
himself.
Arsenio Hall or something. Wasn't Arsenio involved in this?
No,
I don't know.
Anyway, one of them killed himself, but the other one who's still living is making a new Milli Vanilli album with the voice of Milli Vanilli, and so it's called Face Meets Voice, the complete Milli Vanilli experience, or something like that.
So listeners, that's what we need you to help us answer. Is Chris Sutherland our generation's Milli Vanilli?
Girl, that's true.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.
Girl, it's 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 girl.